What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. I hope everyone is healthy and well today. Today we'll be reacting to 7 American companies that are actually Canadian. Why ain't nobody tell me about this sooner, man? You mean to tell me we got some businesses sitting around yonder in this world that are actually Canadian? But like always, us Americans believe it's ours. I'm getting tired of this, bro. 7 though? Man, this was highly recommended. Let's jump right into this video. Original video link will be down below in the description. It's really hot. It's raining. You guys might hear a little lightning and thunder. I know my forehead look a little, It's really the lights though. I'm not sweating or nothing, but it is super hot. So I got to be strategic with my movements.
Canada's going to be a very interesting situation. We just don't need their product.
Really? We got curious about that and looked into what exactly US needed and still needs from Canada. And what we found is that a good deal of the American energy system, transportation network, and even defense infrastructure are so dependent on Canadian companies that unwinding it would take decades and cost hundreds of billions of dollars. So in this video, let's look at how Canada makes American life possible.
Eh? I like the I like the hoodie she got. I just noticed that. Eh?
Let's start with the most critical dependency, energy. And it turns out that America's entire energy system depends on Canadian infrastructure in ways that many don't even realize. Canadian energy conglomerate Enbridge operates the world's longest crude oil pipeline system. Canada's crude export to the US amounted to about 24% of US refinery throughput in 2023, and Enbridge says it accounts for about 40% of total US crude imports. Now, Enbridge is not alone in powering the American energy. TC Energy's Keystone pipeline system moves over 600,000 barrels per day to US refineries. Without these Canadian pipelines, key parts of the US energy system, especially in the Midwest, places like Illinois and Indiana, which are home to some of the country's largest refineries, these states would face supply disruptions and, as a result, higher costs and rising fuel prices. Okay, but you might say, well, we don't need Canadian oil at all. We can just use the seized Venezuelan oil or seize it from Iran. And this is a seemingly legitimate argument some people make. But there are a few problems with it. First, economics. Pipelines are the cheapest way to move oil. It's just a few dollars per barrel. Alternatives like rail or overseas shipping can cost 2 to 3 times more.
That takes too long too. Don't nobody want to.
Especially over long distances or war risk like we have right now. Second, geography and infrastructure.
Talk about a whole war whisk. That was a tongue twister. I almost said war whisk, but I caught myself. Did y'all hear that? War whisk. War risk. A war risk. Talk about a war risk, man. You see them ships in that ocean? Imagine your crude oil on that ship, and it's not gonna make it, bro. Because now look what it's in the middle of. Look at those possibilities now. Look at those chances you're taking. No, that's not a good way to export. Oh no. Oh no.
Risk like we have right now. Second, geography and infrastructure. The refineries that run on Canadian oil are mostly in the Midwest, close to Canada, places like Illinois and Indiana, and they are landlocked. You can't just ship oil from overseas straight to them. It has to come through coastal ports and then move inland by pipeline or rail. And rail is by far the most expensive transport option, not to mention very dangerous. And it's not just transport that's the issue. Those refineries are specifically built for Canadian heavy crude. You can't just swap in a different type of oil without major plant upgrades, and those upgrades would take billions of dollars and years to reconfigure. So if the US were to stop needing Canada tomorrow, it would need to massively pay up and spend the next decade upgrading their facilities. The American energy system of today is structurally dependent on Canadian infrastructure. And despite the political back and forth of that dependency, the underlying reality hasn't changed. If anything, it's become more entrenched. Canada remains by far the largest supplier of crude oil to the United States, and that share has only grown over time. Companies like Enbridge continue to expand and optimize their existing pipeline networks, while major new US pipeline projects face years of regulatory delays or outright cancellation. So, Canada isn't just powering parts of the US energy system, it's structurally embedded in it.
Literally. And in the back of my mind, I'm sitting here thinking, like, how could the US, land of the free, so strong and everything? You literally built this country up around another country, basically. Like, this country doesn't run without Canada, like, especially our major cities and stuff. What are we going to do? How are we going to make money? How are we going to see at night? How are we going to advertise anything? How are we going to get our water and stuff? When you really get to thinking about a lot, it's like, you don't realize how much is missing until it's actually taken away. But I did, though, before all of this. That's why I've been saying, no, stop. And it kept getting worse. I already knew, man.
It's structurally embedded in it.
Canada got so much leverage over us right now. If they wanted to, they could probably tax us more for crude oil and whatnot. Electricity, like they could just keep on taxing us for other things if they want. Like, they could cut off specific areas within Canada that we would have no access to whatsoever, because they literally can if they want to, and nobody can stop them. But are they? No. Because they're being nice, having mercy over us. Oh my gosh. Everything the US has done, they're still having mercy. I love you, Canada. You still have mercy.
Actually embedded in it.
Real talk.
So, energy is just one layer of dependency, and it's just the beginning here. How everything actually moves around the US is also shaped by Canada. The thing is that a big part of the American logistics system runs on Canadian rail. Canadian National Railway moves hundreds of millions of tons of goods across North America every year, with a massive portion of that network running through the United States. CN runs a nearly 20,000-mile network spanning Canada and the US, making it one of the North America's most deeply integrated cross-border rail system. So when something ships by rail, there is a real chance that it's moving on Canadian-owned infrastructure, even inside the US.
Wow.
Now, here's where the things get even more intense. In 2023, Canadian Pacific merged with Kansas City Southern to form Canadian Pacific Kansas City, the first railway with a single continuous network linking Canada, the United States, and Mexico. That means that goods can now move from Mexico to the Midwest and into Canada through one system, without being handed off between rail companies. It reduces hands-off between railways and can improve transit consistencies on some routes. For certain routes, that translates into delivery predictability, and as a result, lower handling costs, which is critical for industries like automotive manufacturing that depends on just-in-time supply chains. Now, you might say, but tariffs are threatening trade with Canada, especially in automotive. And in the short term, yes, tariffs can slow things down and create friction. But they don't break the system. North America still operates as one integrated supply chain, especially in automotive. And even if production shifts to Mexico, the need to move goods across all three countries only grows.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets even more wild. Canadian pension funds don't just invest in American infrastructure, they're quietly building the future of it. Ontario Teachers' Pension Plan owns a stake in the Chicago Skyway. Every time you pay that toll, you are funding Canadian retirements. But that's the old playbook. The new playbook is even bigger. In 2024, CPPIB, Canada Pension Plan Investment Board, committed $15 billion American dollars to build AI data centers across America, partnering with Equinix to construct massive 100-megawatt campuses that will power the next generation of American AI infrastructure.
Oh, man. And what you think we're gonna need to make that work? Water! Whose water you think we're gonna be using? I can't get myself worked up because my body just cooled down. Look, I can feel the heat.
Megawatt campuses that will power the next generation of American AI infrastructure. Think about what this means. As America races to build AI capacity, Canadian pension capital is financing the physical infrastructure that makes it possible. The data centers training ChatGPT's successors, running cloud computing, powering the AI boom, all that is Canadian money and Canadian ownership. And then there is Brookfield, a Canadian asset management giant with over one...
And when you do the research, I have actually done the research on the side. I'm just saying. AI is not going anywhere. Yeah, AI is locked in, just like Google, just like YouTube. Oh, I did research on all these things. These are the three major things I did research on. They will forever be on Earth. It will forever be a thing. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. And it's crazy because the way it works is like, if we use such thing and it's a free thing that we can make money on or use it for free for just advice or this or that, or, you know, it actually generates money back to those companies and stuff. It's crazy how stuff like actually works and how you can make money for them as well. And, you know, it's like a feed off basically thing. Like, it's a teamwork thing. And it's cool. It really is. It will last forever. Chat GTP, the AI, will last forever. Google will last forever. YouTube will last forever. I did some deep research on these things. You know what I'm saying?
Ownership. And then there is Brookfield, a Canadian asset management giant with over $1 trillion under management. They own 162 shopping malls across America, from Hawaii to Maine. The Brookfield Asset Management has recently moved its headquarters to New York, but its parent company, Brookfield Corporation, is still Canadian. Canadian pension capital is, in a way, subsidizing American infrastructure, not through charity, but through patient capital that American investors won't deploy, and in exchange, Canadians own the assets.
Oh, okay.
You're probably noticing a pattern here. Canada is choosing strategic investment decisions, ones that aren't necessarily flashy or easy, but ones that over time become backbones of industries, if not entire economies. It's not about building the next sexy tech company that everyone wants to work at, it's more about the quiet power that very few even think about. Now, let's talk about technology infrastructure that most Americans never see. Canada also powers some technology that's invisible yet critical. And here's where it gets interesting from the national security perspective for the US. CAE, a Montreal-based company, builds the flight simulators that train majority of commercial and military pilots in the United States.
What?
So if you've flown on an American airline...
Oh, that's actually cool. I've never, ever seen that a day in my life, and it's crazy because... You know, like, life is just kind of crazy and weird sometimes. Because I was taking a shower about 2 weeks ago, and I was thinking about this in the middle of scrubbing. Like, oh, what do they be training in? What type of simulators is it? What does it look like? And, you know, after the shower, I forgot. I never really looked it up. There's a lot be going through my mind when I'm taking showers and stuff, you know. I was probably thinking that and then onto a song or something. But, man, that's what it looks like. And this is Canada.
Interesting from the national security perspective for the US. CAE, a Montreal-based company, builds the flight simulators that train majority of commercial and military pilots in the United States. So if you've flown on an American airline, your pilot was almost certainly trained on one of those simulators built in Canada. But more critically, the US Air Force, the Navy, and the Marine Corps all depend on CAE simulators to train fighter pilots, transport crews, and helicopter pilots. Think about what this means. The United States military aviation capability, the foundation of the US air superiority, depends on training technology that was designed and built in Montreal. CAE has left a major footprint in both USA commercial aviation and US military training. F-35 and F-16 pilots, C-17 transport crews, Apache helicopter pilots, all these guys were trained on CAE simulators. This is mission-critical defense infrastructure that the United States depends on.
That's what it looks like? Realistic weather. Oh, so like you could feel it? So like you could basically feel it. It's like sitting in a 3D simulator. What do you really call? I don't know. I mean, I guess we could just say 3D. I was going to say 5D, but then 4D is like smelling. You can't smell anything. So we'll just say 3D for now. But it's a 3D simulator that you sit in and you basically fly. It's like flying courses and how everything works on the runway. Realistic weather situations as well. So you're going to be feeling bumps it might be slippery. Like as you're controlling it, it might be like, wait a minute, you know? That's pretty cool.
Completely. Now, we've covered other Canadian tech infrastructure in previous videos, the companies like the BlackBerry QNX, powering American vehicles, or CGI running state government IT systems in the US. We're not going to talk about these in this video, but you can check out this video. We're going to leave some links below if you want to learn more about them and the impact that they're making on the world. What we're talking about here is just the tip of the iceberg.
No, for real, it is though.
When the Iran war escalated last month, most Americans focused on oil prices and geopolitical tension. But for farmers across the Corn Belt and Southern Plains, the war set off a different kind of alarm. One measured not in barrels of crude, but in tons of urea and potash. Reuters reported that farmers in the US are facing spring planting disruptions as they struggle to find fertilizer, with prices for any available supplies having spiked more than a third since the war began. And spikes like this don't just have a temporary effect. It's a structural disruption with consequences that could echo through American agriculture for years. And here's where Canada strikes once again. Nutrien, headquartered in Saskatoon, is the world's largest fertilizer producer. They control significant portions of the potash, nitrogen, and phosphate that American farmers depend on heavily. Their potash mines in Saskatchewan produce fertilizer that ends up in Iowa cornfields, California vegetable farms, and wheat fields across the Great Plains. The US does have some domestic fertilizer, but lacks the potash reserves that Canada has. So when global supply gets disrupted, American farmers feel it immediately.
Well, if we still had that relationship, I'm pretty sure Canada would help us.
But why don't we hear about this that much these days?
Well, Canadian companies that control American infrastructure tend to be B2B. They're not consumer-facing. You don't see an Enbridge logo when you fill up gas, or you don't think about CN Rail when you order on Amazon. And you might never even heard about the CPPIB letter combination. This invisibility is partly strategic and partly just how infrastructure works. No one thinks about who owns the pipes, the rails, or the simulators until they break. But it also reflects something deeper. While American companies are chasing consumer tech and social media valuations, Canadian companies and pension funds bought pipelines, railroads, toll roads, simulation technology. They were patient, decade-long investments in unsexy industries that are now structurally irreplaceable.
So, back to the original question. Does the US still need Canada?
If you're American, 28% of your oil flows through Canadian pipes. Some of your highways run on Canadian pension capital, and your military pilots train on Canadian simulators. Not to mention Canadian fertilizer that's critical for American farms. The answer to that question is already built into your infrastructure. Getting rid of it or unwinding it will take decades and hundreds of billions of dollars.
When they say like decades, I need my camera to focus. Wait, decades and stuff. What would happen if they had these crops and stuff with no fertilizer? Wait a minute, I need my camera to like lock in. There we go. And I'm like sweating and everything, man. Like I feel really overheated. But like what would happen if we didn't have fertilizer and all that? Would there be like diseases roaming around the US? Would we get sick? Would our crops, like the foods, be damaged all in the supermarkets or contagious, contaminated? What? It won't be able to maybe like kill off bacteria, germs, parasites, bugs, rodents, stuff like that. Anything else I can think of? I can't really think of anything else. Weather, you got this stuff sitting out there and all different type of weathers and stuff. You got birds and all that. You know, I understand. What could possibly happen if we didn't have those three things, though, that we so desperately need and we receive from Canada? Please let me know in the comments down below. You know, I like to ask some questions throughout the video and leave it for you guys to answer. Not all the time, and it's not all my questions, just so we can get a chance to connect in the comments, you know? Get a chance to actually educate each other down below in the comment section. Because I'm thinking like, if we don't have any of those three things, what would happen to those crops? I'm like, what would happen to us? Then like, will we recover right away? Because would our bodies be used to that? Would it mess our whole system up? Like, you know, you got to really think through everything.
Getting rid of it or unwinding it will take decades and hundreds of billions of dollars.
So you're saying this dependency isn't rhetorical or political, it's structurally integrated.
And if you're Canadian, this is what the strategic patience looks like. While everybody else is chasing headlines and sexy tech companies, Canada is buying that infrastructure that make economies run. It's not flashy, but it generates returns and powers the country, whether Americans realize it or not.
For newcomers to Canada and anyone building a career here, this is where Canada's real economic power lies. Not in brands that everyone recognizes, but in systems no one thinks about until they stop working.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you've enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend or just simply tap the like button below. It really helps our channel grow.
Let us know if we've missed any companies, and if YouTube algorithm got it right, you will enjoy this video next, and we'll see you there.
Man, shout out to them, first of all. This was an amazing video. I don't think I've ever checked out a video before from their channel. Make that change. Wait a minute. No, that I got deja vu. I got deja vu just now. I think I've actually watched a video from this channel because I remember saying it that same way. Original video link will be down below in the description. Please share your honest thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section, man. 7 American companies that are actually Canadian. And it's crazy because I've done all this research on these companies and this and that and certain things and like topics, but I've never really dug deeper, you know, to actually realize where it originated. Crazy. It's crazy. And all of the things I've been researching and looking up, like I said, they last forever. They will last forever. Longevity, you know, it's not going nowhere. And it's crazy. How could I not think of Canada? That's all Canada really focuses on is like the main things that will last for a lifetime that could benefit the world for the good, the positive only. It's more so the US that gets involved within tech companies and social media and investing in this and that, you know. But Canada, yeah, focused on like big things, big infrastructure and everything, like water dams and, you know, there's like CGI companies, a ChatGPT, AI bot. Like I said, you guys run that and everything. Like it's so much you guys are controlling. It's phenomenal. And she said there's a whole nother video. There's a whole nother video to check out. So I'm actually going to react to that as well. What I need to go do is go get a paper towel or something because it's getting hot. It's like every time I speak, I think it's like another drop of sweat. And I don't understand how that works because I'm not worked up. I wasn't being loud or extra this video or anything. I'm talking to you guys like a regular human being right now. I'm sweating. I love y'all. Stay safe. Feel free to follow my Kick for the live streams in the description down below. Subscribe to all my other YouTube channels as well. I love you all. Flood my comment section with some more videos, and I hope to catch everyone in the next reaction video. Stay cool.